groove number 2 is a tune called Good Rockin' Tonight by an artist named Wynonie Harris. This is a time period where all of a sudden, this is one of the first songs where all of a sudden you could really hear that backbeat on 2 and 4. And that became sort of the template for all rock and roll. In fact, eventually later Elvis covered this tune. Many people covered this tune. It was a Good Rockin' Tonight is a great song, but it features that, you know, it's kind of laid back, but it still has a little bit of forward motion too, and it's got that kind of swing ride pattern, but you're really hearing the 2 and 4 now. So anyway, this one takes the same kind of approach. It's got a swing, but it's got to be relaxed, and you don't have as much of the shuffle thing going on with the left hand. You have more of the backbeat thing happening. Right off the bat, let me say this. You're not going to learn these 24 grooves off the poster in a day. If you learn them in a day, you don't have them down, I promise you. There's more to these grooves than meets the eye or even meets the ear. I look at these grooves kind of like an onion. You know, an onion, a brown onion has that outer layer. It's kind of the crusty part of the skin you take off. And that's about where most people stop. They take the crusty part of the skin off and they think, okay, I understand what's in the onion. But you don't really until you slice it and you realize how many veneers and how many layers of material make up the onion. And that's what these grooves are like. You know, if you listen at just, you know, first level, you're only going to hear it as a simple thing. But then if you listen to the next level and the next level and the next level, you're going to hear a little more clues to the whole thing. And it's going to have to do with things like the balance between the kick, snare, and hat, the overall feel of that tune, and it takes a lot to make these things feel like anything. And so you're going to have to listen at much deeper than face value in order to get the groove. And that's why so many people never develop a deep groove, because they're only listening on the plateau number 1. They never move deeper, and there's a lot to it. So you have to spend time with these records, playing along with them, emulating them, and really becoming these parts like an actor. To become a convincing actor in a movie, you have to become that person. When I'm playing with different artists, I try to think of myself like an actor. Who am I playing today? What do they want to see? Who are they expecting to see play this part? And then I try to see what would that guy have played like, and I've tried to become that. And you're only going to become that if you've got some reference points of what you've listened to, because it's all based on what you know. All right, so a little bit about like the kit we used for the recordings for the first 11 tunes of this poster. We went with more of the traditional sort of a jazz tuning of a kit. And the bass drum is wide open. There's no pillow in there. It's coated heads front and back. And that kind of a drum is a lot harder to play because basically there's all this loose air rolling around in the bass drum. So it's really kind of like standing in front of the mirror naked. It's going to tell the truth. And a bass drum like that is like standing in front of the mirror naked. There's nothing to hide behind. It's very ringy, and you got to control that bounce. And that's part of the whole time period. Is guys were really jazz players, and they knew how to play the bass drum very light, which they called feathering, which they could keep that groove going, but it wasn't heavy, it wasn't cloddy. So it's, you know, you got to learn to do that, and you got to release the beater off of the head. Otherwise, you choke it like a timpani. So you have to release that beater, and the only way I know how to do that is to play heel down and just be very gentle with it. Otherwise, you mute that tone. This tune has, you know, a 4 on the floor, as a lot of tunes did in that era, but it can't be too heavy. So balance is key in all of this stuff. Hoy, 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 hoy.